guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another horror review. Tonight we're looking at a British horror film from 1973 called Voices, starring David Hemmings and Gail Honeycutt. Before we get into the film, let's have a look at the edition. So here we are, guys. Here's the physical release of Voices on Indicator, starring David Hemmings and Gail Honeycutt. Directed by Kevin Billington. Let's open it. I bought this on my road trip with my lad. I bought this down, I believe, in Fopp in London. It might be HMV. So it comes in the typical Indicator sort of packaging, which is similar to Arrow in the sense they don't put any pictures on it. Just a bit of information of what's on this special edition disc. This is a standard edition. It just comes with the cover and the disc itself. And that is the physical release of Voices. So this is a standard release from Indicator. It's not one of their deluxe editions. And to be honest, I'm glad I didn't get a deluxe edition. I'm glad I got the standard. Is there any special features on it? So here we are, guys, on the main menu for the film Voices. Let's see if there's any special features. We have audio commentary with Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman, of course. Wide Boys, Vic Pratt on John Daly. David Hemmings and Hemdale Film Corporation. Mon Bravo, Peter Crane on David Hemmings. Voices from the Past, an image gallery. And in your setup, you just have English subtitles, and that is the special features on Voices. Kim Newman's on it, so that's pretty cool, and there is some new some sort of interviews and stuff going on the disc, so not too bad. So let's get to the story. So this is a story that tackles depression and psychosis, if you like, if you will. It's about Claire and Robert, who are a married couple. Robert is played by David Hemmings, who you might know from Dario Argento's film Deep Red, and Gail Honeycutt, well, I've not really seen in anything else. And they've got a young son called David, and they're out on a sort of canal sort of boating sort of holiday. And at the beginning of the film, they sort of they tie the boat up to the siding and the mooring, if you will. And David and his dad Robert go off and have a look around at the sort of gates and stuff where the canals and the boats, narrow boats, go through. And then they go back to the boat and they send David off to play on his own. He's about 3 or 4, I think, and they start making out on the boat. And then David goes missing, and they think maybe he's fallen into the river or canal or the woodlands. So they go looking, searching for him everywhere. They search the woodlands, they search the canal. They get the police out with a boat, and they start searching round the sort of like the moorings areas and around where all the sort of gates are in the canal, and they don't find him. And then weirdly, we just cut to the future. We don't know anything what's happened with David or anything. We've cut to the future, and I believe Claire's been in a mental institution since then. I think it's driven her mad, and she's been in there, but now she's out and she's with Robert, and they're going on to this country house that's been left to her by her family member. And she keeps getting flashbacks throughout this sort of time of like the coat of the lad that was wearing like the lifeguard coat. And we see clips of her trying to kill herself, commit suicide. We see one where she's taking tablets, another time when she's trying to cut herself open with razor blades. But Robert intervenes. But anyway, they are back together and they're going to this old house. And then they get to this old house, and we're about 25 minutes into the film now, and the film lasts for 90 minutes, and now the next hour and 5 minutes is in this one room in the house, and it starts to play out like a BBC play. And it is based on a play. It's not based on a story as such. It's based on a play, and it plays out exactly like a play. You feel like you're watching a BBC play for today or whatever. And the last hour is shot in this room where she keeps hearing voices and giggling of her son, and also a young girl turns up in there, a ghost of a young girl, which she sees. She thinks she is now psychic, and because she's been to sort of like when the boy had died, she had like some sort of seance and apparently made contact, and she's now open to sort of like visual and hearing of sort of ghosts, and she hears ghosts around this house, which is a bit bizarre because it's like a house where her family's owned, but Robert doesn't believe her, and they start arguing. He can't get over the fact that this is driving her insane, and she is majorly depressed over the death of their son David. He seems to have got on with it, and I believe while she's been in the institution, he's been out a little bit womanizing and sort of like getting over it that way. Anyway, they're back together, and this is the whole sort of play shows a breakdown of their relationship and how this kind of like this horrible event has happened has destroyed their sort of family soul. Is just it's just in despair and just sort of like destroyed, and he's trying and reconcile her, but he gets angry with her because she keeps trying to hear these voices and he can't believe her, and her mood swings and roundabouts. 1 minute she's like lovey-dovey with him, and the next minute she's like telling him that she hates him and all this. It's very, very strange and very weird the way it sort of plays out. Let's get to the characters. So, like I said, this plays out like a play, and you are basically two characters pretty much the whole film in one room in the downstairs of this old, supposedly cottage, but it's rather huge for a cottage. And it's like an old BBC play, and it looks like it's been shot for TV. But it's got something. Let's get to my final verdict. I'm going to score this an interesting watch. I know it's a strange one, an interesting watch, and give it a 7 out of 10. Nothing really goes on in the film to actually class this as a really sort of magnificent kind of horror film. And it says on the back, the voices of terror twist two minds. So it doesn't really do that. It just sort of plays out on their destruction of their marriage as a destruction has been destroyed by this horrible event of their losing their son. She still believes the son's alive. He can't believe it because it's like they've never found the body. And they think, well, they would have found him by now, and she can't get to come to terms with it. So it's they're not coming to terms with a loss, of bereavement, depression, of suicide, and it tackles all these sort of events, but in little bits. It doesn't delve deep enough to really get to the taste of it. But it's an interesting viewing, and the concept of it is really sort of like interesting. The negatives of it. Now, I'm going to score the transfer. The transfer, I'm going to score a 4 out of 10. It's one of the worst looking films I own. It's like you're watching it in the 1970s on a 1970s TV. Your very, very first ever Granada colour TV. It's like you're watching it on that. It's all pixelated. It looks shocking. It's really, I mean, when it first come on, like with the clips that you might have seen, it looks okay. It looks passable. But that's the film element. But then when we get to the play element, because it's all shot in one badly lit room with candles, you can see the glare of the candles when they're walking. You can see like the the sort of shadow of the body behind them. You know what I mean? It's just, it looks awful. Does it add anything to it? No. And most of the times when a film looks pretty poor, I quite like it because it adds something. But this doesn't add anything to this film. It's one of the worst transferred films I think I own. But it's still got something. And I'm not sure what it is. I think I need to view it again in a year's time or something. I want a gap from it because although it was okay, it was an interesting watch. Just didn't do it for me, you know, and I want it to because the premise is interesting, and I do like David Hemmings. I loved him in Deep Red, really, really cool, and I just think this could have been so much more. I think when I watch it next time, I'm going to take the colour out and watch it in black and white. Maybe that might bring it to life to me. Massive shout out to my lad. Cheers, guys.